I have got me a wee snuffle, but it's a good time to have a chat about Glenrothan. Let's talk about it. Sorry about the accent. G'day, it's Adam here again with another quick instant movie review for you. Sorry about the block nose. Anyway, tonight we're having a chat about Glenrothan. It is directed by Brian Cox in his first feature directorial debut. This film is described as a love letter to Scotland, and it has Brian Cox starring as Sandy, a brother who calls for his other brother, Donald, played by Alan Cumming, who are back to their home in Scotland and to the family business in Glenrothan, which is a distillery that has been passed down from generation to generation. Along for the ride is Donald's daughter, Amy, played by Alexandra Shipp, and Jess, an ex-flame and head of operations at the distillery, played by Shirley Henderson. This is all written by David Ashton and Jeff Murray. And I single those two people out because there is some terrible dialogue in this film. Let's go from the very beginning, shall we? So this is Brian Cox's first outing as a director and also starring as well. So it's a big call to be doing both of these things. Obviously, Brian Cox has had a massive career and obviously most recently has Succession. He's done heaps of stuff though. And I remember Brian Cox from many, many years ago, but Manhunter was a really big one, and obviously in all the Bourne films, the Bourne Supremacy, the Bourne Identity, Bourne Ultimatum, always played a little bit of a character that's got a bit of a, not always overly soft, usually got a bit of a hard edge. Brian Cox, the director, what's he like? Well, I think it's really hard to blame everything on Brian Cox for this film. I think a lot has got to do with the script. I think a lot has got to do with the casting. And I think there might have been a lot of moments where it's just like, okay, we'll just let people do what they like. And they're obviously all really good at what they do. Miscasting is the biggest star of this film because Alan Cumming and Brian Cox, first of all, look nothing alike. Secondly, don't look anything like the ages in which their flashback counterparts would have been if they were reflecting how they are in the future, because they look 20 years apart, if even that, even though they've tried to age Alan Cumming up a little bit, it doesn't make a lick of difference because they don't look like brothers, and the age wise they don't even look like they're the right age. And then you've got Alexandra Shipp in this one as as Amy, as Donald's daughter. I don't know what's going on there, but she almost looked more like potentially a young wife than a daughter. Outside of that, her acting is terrible. Like, it is bad. And I don't know if it's her fault or if Brian Cox just went, you were great in the audition, just do that. I'm not sure. But look, there's got to be blame placed somewhere because she doesn't exercise the material at all. It's kind of like she's just reading off a teleprompter or steps straight off a High School Musical stage, because it is the most wooden acting I have seen in such a long time. And there is no emotiveness in there. If it is, it's kind of like straight off a melodrama, of a daytime, General Hospital TV show. It's really not good. And especially seeing you have Alan Cumming, who is a great actor, and Brian Cox, who is a great actor. You have two great actors on screen together. This should have been a no-brainer. Very simple story. Old brother needs young brother to come back to their home, to the hometown. He's been gone for 40 years. Rivalry happens. Conversation happens, hijinks happens. The hijinks in this are so ridiculous, and there's a musical sequence in this that I just rolled my eyes at and just went, oh, are you serious? It was so convoluted and cheesy. I just couldn't get over it. Yes, you could take this film as just being a warm hug potentially of a film, a comfort blanket potentially, but not when it's this bad. There's got to be something that you cling to. You know, this was more like a smelly blanket that you know you probably shouldn't put on you, but you just have because you need to you warm yourself up a little bit. And even from the trailer, you can kind of see that this film has tried to piece bits and pieces together to try and find some warmth, some pathos, some comedy, something. It doesn't. It just doesn't do anything because it should be a home run, and instead it's just a meander home drunk because it just doesn't keep anything in line at all. And Shirley Henderson's character is really annoying and shrieks. And that is not a good thing to have. That would not encourage me to come back at all, which is, sorry, Brian Cox, this is not good. So Glenrothan, I'd probably give like a 4 out of 10, just because I like the people on the screen, especially the two leads, but everything else is no, nope, 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 nope. So I'm sure we could do a lot better next time, hopefully. Anyway, that is my review of Glenrothan. What is your favourite Scottish-based film? Comment below, let me know. I'd really love to find out a few good Scottish films. Maybe I could put them on top of my list of things to watch. Yeah, it didn't even feel Scottish. Anyway, see you next time here in my car, where hopefully I don't have to be using a ton of tissues. Good night.